Hello friends, welcome back to your UPSC. Today we are going to start with the last part of Physiography of India, which will cover the Peninsular Plateau, the coastal plains and the island groups. So let's get started. So starting with the Peninsular Plateau. Peninsular Plateau, as we can see, it is roughly a triangular shaped pattern. Okay, so it is a triangular shaped platform which coincides with the southern part of Great Plain of North India. Okay, so the northern plain of India, their southern tip is the base of this triangle, and the apex of this triangle, it meets at the southernmost point, that is our Kanyakumari. Okay, so from Kanyakumari we have its tip. Okay, so this whole triangle is our Peninsular Plateau. Now if we look into the boundaries of the plateau, it is surrounded by hills or mountains from all the three sides. Okay, so like we have Aravallis, then we have just a second, we have Aravallis, then we have Vindhyan ranges, then we have Satpura ranges. Okay, so Vindhyas and Satpuras we have, then we have here we have the Eastern Ghats and the Western Ghats at its eastern and western boundaries. So from all the sides it is surrounded by the hills. Okay, now if you look into the length and breadth of this plateau, its length is about 1600 kilometers and its base is about 1400 kilometers. Okay, so in total if we look into the area, it is 16 lakh square kilometer. Okay, so it is 16 lakh square kilometer, which is about half of the total area of the country. That means the major portion of the country is occupied by this physiographic feature. Okay, that is Peninsular Plateau. Now, as we all know, that the Peninsular Plateau is an ancient tabular block which is composed mostly of Archean genesis and schist. Okay, so Archean gneiss and schist. So it is composed of Archean era. It is of Archean era. Okay, all the Archean gneisses and schist are in it. Now, because this Peninsular Plateau, it has not undergone any major changes. Why? Firstly, because it is having a hard rock. Okay, it is having volcanic origin. It is hard rock structure. Okay, secondly, it has never submerged beneath the sea. Okay, so it has never undergone any sort of transformation because of submergence in the sea. Okay, except for few localities for temporary period, it has never undergone or it has never submerged into the sea. Okay, so that is why this area is very stable, and because this area is very stable, we can see the most ancient type of rocks in this area. Okay, so most ancient types of rocks are also found in this area. Okay, okay, now this whole area of Peninsular Plateau, it is not a continuous platform. Okay, it is formed by aggregation of several small plateaus and hills. Okay, so all these small plateaus and hills, they constitute or they they have augmented together to form this bigger peninsular plateau. Okay. Now, the major features, or we can say major landforms in this peninsular plateau are, first is the plateaus of peninsular plateau, and the another one is the hills in the peninsular plateau. So first we will look into the plateaus or the plateau region or highland region in the peninsular region or peninsular India. So the first plateau is Marwar upland. Okay. Marwar upland is also known as upland of eastern Rajasthan, and it lies in the east of Aravalli ranges. The average elevation of this area is about 250 to 600, no, 500 meters. Okay. See, the average height of total peninsular plateau is 600 to 900 meters, but the Marwar plateau, if we look separately, its average height is 250 to 500 meters. Okay. The slope, it develops towards the east side. Okay. So the eastward side we have slope, and this plateau is basically made up of sandstone, shells, limestone. Okay, and all these three belong to the Vindhyan period. So the sandstone, shells, and limestone of Vindhyan period, they forms Marwar upland. Okay, the Banas River, it originates in the Aravalli ranges and flows from 400 kilometer for about 400 kilometers and joins Chambal River in this area. Okay, so the area has been carved into rolling plain by erosion of this Banas River and its tributaries. So we have Banas River here. Then we will look into the another one, that is the Central Highland, which is also known as Madhya Bharat Pathar. Okay, so Madhya Bharat Pathar or Central Highland, it lies in the east of Marwar upland, and most of it is comprised of basin of Chambal River, which flows in the Rift Valley. The Sindh and the Parvati are the main tributaries of Chambal River, okay, which lies here, and it is an open rolling plateau made up of old rocks, which is interspersed by the rounded hills which are composed of sandstone. Okay, so it is a rolling plateau which is interrupted by various rounded hills, and these rounded hills are made up of sandstone. Okay, and this Central Highland, it has thick forest which are growing in here, and in the north, if we see the north of Central Highland, we have the riverines or the bedlands of Chambal River. So here we have Chambal River. Okay. The next we have Bundelkhand upland. Bundelkhand upland, it lies to the south of Madhya Bharat. Okay. Sorry, not south of Madhya Bharat, but at the south of Yamuna River between Madhya Bharat and Vindhyan ranges. Okay. So this is Yamuna River. Here we have Madhya Bharat plateau, and here we have Vindhyan ranges. So here we will have the Bundelkhand upland. Now this Bundelkhand area, it covers about 54,560 kilometers, and it is spread in 5 districts of Uttar Pradesh and 4 districts of Madhya Pradesh. Okay, so it is spreading in Uttar Pradesh and Madhya Pradesh. So it is like the Yamuna river is going here. Then we have the central highland, and then we have the Vindhyan ranges and its scarpland. It borders it. Okay, so here we have Bundelkhand upland, which lies in UP and MP. Now, as it is lying in the area where the rivers are active, so the streams like Betwa, Kane, they have carved out steep gorges in it. Okay, so we have the rocky bank, and in this rocky bank we have steep gorges and many waterfalls. Okay, now after Bundelkhand upland, we have Malwa plateau. Now this Malwa plateau, it is roughly in the form of triangle base, and it this triangle is based on Vindhyan hills bounded by Aravali ranges in the west and sharply defined a scarp overlooking Bundelkhand in the east. Okay, so it is like this is a triangular base. Okay, so it is having Vindhyan hills bounded by Aravali hills in Aravali ranges in the west, and the eastern part of Bundelkhand is sharply defining its edges. Okay, now this plateau is very complex. Okay, this plateau has two systems of drainage. One is towards the Arabian Sea, where we have Narmada, Tapi, Mahi rivers, and another is towards the Bay of Bengal, which is Chambal river, Betwa river, which are joining Yamuna. Okay, it has a length of about 530 kilometers and width is about 390 kilometers. So in total, it spreads over an area of 1,50,000 square kilometer. Now, if we see its north part is drained by Chambal. Okay, then the Chambal and its various right bank tributaries like Kali, Sindh, Parvati are also included. Okay, so this was the Malwa Plateau, and this Malwa Plateau is also marked by Chambal riverines or its bedland. Okay, then we have Baghelkhand. The Baghelkhand, it lies in the east of Michael Range. Okay, so it lies at the east of Michael Range and it is made up of limestone and sandstone. Okay, so if this is the Baghelkhand, then it has two parts. Okay, so the western part, if we see, it is made up of sandstone plus limestone. Okay, which are soft rock, while the eastern part, it is made up of granite, which is a hard rock structure. Okay, it covers an area of about 1.4 lakh square kilometers and it is bounded by Son River in the north. And if we look into its south, we have anticlinal highland and synclinal valley of sandstone and limestone. Okay, so in southern part we have anticlinal highlands. So we have like this. So this is our anticline and this is our syncline. So anticline is always high mountainous region, so this is highland, and this is valley region. Okay, now this area has also not undergone any major disturbances. Then we have Chota Nagpur plateau. Chota Nagpur plateau, it lies at the east of Baghelkhand. Okay, and it represents the northeast projection of Indian Peninsula. Okay, so the northeastern projection of Indian Peninsula is represented by Chota Nagpur Plateau. Okay, the area which it covers is about 87,000 square kilometer, and the most of the area is in Jharkhand, along with the northern part of Chhattisgarh and West Bengal. In West Bengal, we have just one Purulia district of West Bengal. Okay. Now, in the northwest of the plateau, we have Son River that flows, which joins Ganga. Okay. And the average elevation of this plateau is 700 meters above the sea level. So, it is 700 meters above the sea level. And this plateau is generally composed of Gondwana rocks. Okay. And along with the Gondwana rocks, we have the patches of Archean granite and Deccan lava. Okay. So Archean granite and Deccan lava is present in Chota Nagpur Plateau. Now the Chota Nagpur Plateau, it virtually comprises of, or it consists of, series of plateaus standing in different level and elevation. The highest general elevation is about 1100 meter, and it is known as Petland, and it lies in the mid-eastern portion of this Chota Nagpur Plateau. So this area is like a highland from where in all the direction land descends. Okay, so the elevation, average elevation is lower than this land. So in this type of platform we will have a drainage that is radial drainage system. Okay, so the radial drainage system I have already explained you. So in radial drainage system, what happens? From one place, the river they emerges out. Okay, so we have radial drainage system here. Now this Chota Nagpur plateau is further divided into three parts. Okay, so we have Damodar Valley that is cutting it, Chota Nagpur plateau. So above the Damodar river, we have Hazaribagh plateau, whose average elevation is 600 meter above the mean sea level. Okay. Now this plateau has isolated hills in the east, which rises up to 1366 meter. And this area is mainly made up of granite, gneiss, while hills have quartz rock. Okay. And this area, it mainly looks like a penny plain because of large scale erosion in this area. Then we have Rachi Plateau. Rachi Plateau is towards the south of the Damodar Valley. Now towards the south of the Damodar Valley, this Rachi Plateau rises to about a height of 600 meters. Okay, and the maximum height is found in the western part, where pads of high mesas kept. Mesas we know, mesa and Butte. So we have highlands of about 1100 meters. Okay, so they are present here. So the height, it elevates up to 1100 meter in these pads of high mesas. Okay, then we have Rajmahal Hills. Rajmahal Hills, they are forming the northeastern edge of Chota Nagpur Plateau. Okay, and they are mostly made up of basalt, and they are covered by lava flows. Okay, Their average elevation is about 400 meter, with the highest mount having the height of 567 meters. Okay, so this was about Chota Nagpur Plateau. Then we have Meghalaya Plateau. Meghalaya Plateau is the rock of Peninsular Plateau of India. Okay, so it extends from the northeast part of Rajmahal Hills, and it is having a rectangular shape. Okay, now this plateau is separated from main block of Peninsular Plateau by a wide gap which is known as Garo Rajmahal Gap. Okay, and this gap was formed because of down faulting. Down faulting is like, okay, so down faulting, and this gap was later filled by sediment deposits uh, by river Ganga. Okay, so the river Ganga, it filled these sediment deposits. So we have this gap. So this wide gap was developed because of faulting. Okay, and the area which Meghalaya Plateau covers is about 35,000 square kilometer. Okay, and this Meghalaya Plateau is mainly or largely formed by Dharwadian quartzite shells and schist with granite intrusions. Okay, and it has some basic silts also present in it. Now this plateau, it slopes down to the Brahmaputra Valley in the north and the Meghna Valley in the south. Okay, so it is sloping downwards. In the westward boundary, it is more or less coinciding with the Bangladesh border. The western and central and eastern part of this plateau are known as, we have like main hills. Okay, so here we have Garo, Khasi, Jayantia hills along with Mikir hills. Okay, so these make their border. Then after this Meghalaya plateau, we have Deccan plateau. Deccan plateau, it is the largest unit of Peninsular Plateau of India, and it covers an area of about 5 lakh square kilometer. Okay, so it is a huge area. So it is also a triangular shaped plateau which is bounded by Satpura ranges, Vindhyan ranges in the northwest. Then we have Mahadev and Mackay, Michael Hills in the north, and then we have Western Ghats in the west and Eastern Ghats in the east. Okay, so it is forming a triangular shape. Vindhyan and Satpura ranges, then we have Michael ranges, then Eastern and Western Ghat. Okay, the average elevation of this area is about 600 meter and it rises up to 100 meters in the south, but it dips to about 500 meters in the north. Okay, so we have like, this area is having less elevation and this area is having more elevation. The major rivers in this area are like Mahanadi, Godavari, Krishna, and Kaveri. So all these four rivers are the major rivers here. Now these rivers, they have further subdivided this plateau into number of smaller plateaux. So we have three plateaus. First is Maharashtra plateau, then we have Karnataka plateau, and then lastly we have Telangana plateau. Now Maharashtra plateau, it lies in Maharashtra and form a northern part of Deccan Plateau. Now, most of the region is underlying by basaltic rock of lava origin. Okay, so we have lava origin here. Now, this area, it looks like a rolling plain because of weathering. Okay, the horizontal lava sheets have led to the formation of typical Deccan trap topography in here. Okay, so we have broad and shallow valleys of Godavari, Bhim, and Krishna River that are flanked by flat-topped, steep-sided hills. Okay, so we have this type of hills. Then we have Ajanta ranges, which are lying in the south of the Tapi River here. Okay, and the entire area is having black soil, that is Reger soil. It is also known as Reger soil. Black soil is also known as Reger soil, which is very good for the growth of cotton, and that is why Maharashtrian cotton is internationally famous and it is exported in huge amount. Then we have Karnataka Plateau. Karnataka Plateau is also known as Mysore Plateau, and it lies to the south of Maharashtra Plateau. Okay, and this plateau is primarily made up of Archean formation. Okay, and the elevation is about 600 to 900 meters. And this area is also highly dissected by numerous rivers rising from the western ghats. Okay, it contains head of Tungabhadra and the Kaveri river, and the general trend of hills are either parallel to the western ghats or athwart to it. Okay, and the highest range that we can see, highest peak that we can see, is Bulangiri in Baba Budan Hills, which lies in Chikmagalur district. Okay, so the plateau is basically divided into two parts, into two sub-part we can say. The first is Maland and the second is Maidan. Okay, so the Maland in Kannada means hilly country, and it is dissected by deep valley covered with dense forest. Okay, so it is divided into Maland, Malnad, then we have Maidan. So Malnad is hilly region and Maidan is rolling plain. Okay, so the Malnath have thick forest. Maidan, on the other hand, is a rolling plain with low granite hills. Okay, and this plateau is trapped between Western Ghat and Eastern Ghats in the south, and it merges with Nilgiri Hills there. Okay, then lastly in Deccan Plateau we have Telangana Plateau. Telangana Plateau, it consists of Archean mesas at the average elevation of 500 to 600 meters. Okay, so we have 500 to 600 meters. Now the southern part of the area is higher than its northern counterpart. Okay, and this region is drained by three major river systems, that is Godavari, Krishna, and Penneru. Okay, so we have Godavari, Krishna, and Penneru river. Now the entire plateau is divided into two major physiographic regions, that is ghats and peneplains. Okay, so it is also having ghats and peneplains. Now lastly in plateaus we have Chhattisgarh plain. Chhattisgarh plain is the only plain in the vast stretch of plateau. Okay, now it is a saucer shaped depression drained by upper Mahanadi, okay, and the whole basin it lies between Michael Michael ranges and Odisha hills, okay. The region uh, has a general elevation from 250 meters in the east to 330 meters in the west. So in the east it is 250 meters, while in the west it is 330 meters. Okay. Now after plateau of peninsular India, we will look into hill ranges of peninsular India. Okay. Now the hills of the peninsular India are much lower than the Himalayan ranges, obviously, because they have been undergone through various erosional processes and their upliftment has also stopped. While if we look into Himalayan ranges they are still they are growing. Okay, so the important hills among or important ranges are first is Aravali ranges. Now it is one of the major physiographic element of peninsular India. The Aravali ranges it runs from northeast to southwest direction. So northeast to southwest direction. Okay. Now because of this direction, now the reason this is the reason why Rajasthan it does not get much rainfall. Okay. Now the southwest monsoon winds which are coming, they run parallel to Aravali ranges. Okay. Unlike Himalayas, they are running parallel. If would they have been standing like this parallel against the flow, then Rajasthan would also have been a fertile area. Okay, but as we can see that Aravali ranges they run parallel. That's why we have desert region here. Okay, the distance that they cover is 800 km, which is between Delhi to Palampur. Palampur is near Ahmedabad and Gujarat. Okay. Now the Aravali ranges they represent relic of the world's oldest mountain. Okay, they are relic mountain, and their folding is the result of era which is close to Archean era. Okay. Now if we look into their form, we can estimate that their height in past would have been even higher than present Himalayas. Okay. Now the general elevation, if we look into the general elevation of Aravallis, it is only about 400 to 600 meters, but these ranges rise about 1000 meters in some areas. Okay. Now the elevation of Aravalli ranges is lower between Delhi to Ajmer. Okay. And here in Delhi to Ajmer, it is categorized by a chain of detached and discontinuous ridges. But as we go towards the south of Ajmer, then this range becomes continuous. Okay, and it rises to the height of 900 meters. And if we look at its southwest extremity, it rises over 1000 meters, like we have Mount Abu, which is like 1158 meters, which is a small hilly block, which is separated from a main range by the valley of Banas River. Then we have Guru Shikhar. Guru Shikhar is the highest peak of Aravalli ranges and its height is about 1722 meters. Okay, so this was about Aravalli ranges. Then we have Vindhyan ranges. Vindhyan ranges they have raised as an escarpment flanking in the northern edge of Narmada Son. Okay, so in the Narmada Son river we have an escarpment. Okay, so This escarpment which rised, it is given the name of Vindhyan Ranges. Now this Vindhyan Ranges, it overlooks the Narmada Valley and it runs almost parallel to the Narmada Valley in the east-west direction. And if we look into its height, the height of this range is about 300 to 650 meters and it is rarely going above 700 meters. Okay, so it is 300 to 650 meters and rarely going about 700 meters. So this was about Vindhyan Ranges. Vindhyan Ranges, here we can see various rivers like Chambal, Betwa, Kane. Okay. Next is our Satpura Ranges. Satpura Ranges in Sanskrit it means Sat. Sat means seven and Pura means mountain. Okay. So Satpura means seven mountain. So Satpura is basically a chain of seven mountains. So we have seven continuous mountains in Satpura Ranges. Okay. Now these Satpura ranges, they run from east to west direction and they are at the south of Vindhyan ranges. Okay, so this is Vindhyan ranges, these are Satpura ranges and they run from east to west direction. And they run in between Narmada and Tapi river almost parallel to these rivers. Okay, so this is Narmada and Tapi river and they are running parallel to them. Okay. Their elevation of these hills is about 900 to 1000 meters. Okay. And we have Dhupgad near Pachmehri on Mahadev Hills, which is the highest peak and its elevation is about 1350 meters. Okay. Now other peaks, if we say, they are Dongra Peak, then we have Amarkatak. Okay. Now we will look into Western Ghats. Western Ghats are also known as Sahyadri. Okay, they form eastern edge of the Deccan tableland, and the Western Ghats they run in north to south direction, parallel and close to Arabian Sea coast. Okay, and they run from Tapi Valley to a little north of Kanyakumari, and this length that they cover, the distance is 1600 kilometers. Okay, the Western Ghats are down to Malabar and they are steep sided, terraced, and flat topped hills or cliffs that are presenting mesa like stepped topography facing the Arabian Sea coast. Okay, so they are mesa like stepped topography. These Western Ghats, they are having horizontally bedded lava on which weathering has taken place. Okay. Now the average elevation, if we talk about, so it is about 1000 meters. Okay. So it is about 1000 meters and this tableland or this Western Ghat has been sectioned into three. The first one is northern section. So northern section of the Ghat is from Tapi Valley to a little north of Goa and it is made up of horizontal sheet of Deccan lava, okay, forming a wall-like structure of western over the western coastal plain. Okay, now here its average height of this section is 1200 meters above the sea level, but some of the peaks they attain more height. Like we have in the north, we have Mahabaleshwar and we have Kalasumbi. Okay, so this was about northern section. Then we have Middle Sahyadri. The Middle Sahyadri runs from 16° north latitude up to Nilgiri Hills. Okay, this part is made up of granite, gneisses, and present it is at present a rough topography. Okay, which is laying at a stone throw of Arabian Sea coast. That means very near. 95 meters. Okay, so it is the highest peak. Anaimundi is the highest peak covering the elevation of 2695 meters. Okay, it is the highest peak in whole of the South India. Then we have other ranges like Annamalai, then we have Palani, then we have Cardamom Hills, which are other high ranges of this area. After Western Ghats, we have Eastern Ghats. Eastern Ghats are bordering the eastern edge of Deccan Plateau, okay, and they run almost parallel to the eastern coast of India leaving a broad plain between their base and the coast. Okay, so here we have broad plain between them. Okay, now the western ghats, if we see, they were mostly continuous, while the eastern ghats, on the contrary, they are very discontinuous. Okay, so the eastern ghats, they are basically a chain of highly broken and detached hills. Okay, so they are highly broken and detached hills which are starting from Mahanadi in Odisha, and they run throughout and they end up in Vagai in Tamil Nadu. Okay, now the hills constituting of in the eastern ghats have neither structural unity nor physiographic continuity. Okay, so they are structurally and physiographically different. They almost disappear between Godavari and Krishna. Because of erosion, they have denuded. Now, the we have various hills and mountains in this eastern ghats which are treated as independent unit. Okay, so we have used, according to SPET, we have preferences to use the term eastern hills. Then, okay, so this is divided into three. We have eastern hills in the north, then we have Kudappa ranges in the center, and in last we have Tamil Nadu hills forming the southern group. Okay, and they collectively are known as eastern ghats. So this eastern ghats have various ranges like Armakonda, then we have Galikonda. Okay, so these are some of the important peaks along with Sinkram Gutta. Okay, so these are some of the important peaks of Eastern Ghats. The the elevation of these are, first one, that is Armakonda, is about 1680 meters, then Galikonda is about 1643 meters, and the last one, that is Sinkram Gutta, is about 1620 meters, and they are important peaks. Okay, when we go between Godavari and Krishna, we have already studied that the Eastern Ghat, it loses its hilly character. Okay, and between these two rivers, we have Gondwana formation that occupies the space. Now the Eastern Ghat, it reappears as more or less continuous hill ranges in the Kudappa and Kurnool districts of Andhra Pradesh. Okay, here we have Arcuate, that is Nalla Malay ranges with general elevation of about 600 to 850 meters. Okay, and this elevation is most prominent. Okay, it composes of quartz and slate. Okay, now the southern part of these ranges are called as Palkodna range. Okay, now to the south of this hills and plateau, they attain a very low altitude. Only Javadi hills and the other hills uh, in two districts, okay, they feature here, and their elevation is about 1000 meters, and except for them, the area in the south is flat. Okay, now the eastern ghats, after that, they merges with the western ghats. Okay, so these were the hilly ranges of Peninsular Plateau. Now we will look into the significance of Peninsular Plateau. Now the Peninsular Plateau of India are the oldest and most stable landform of Indian subcontinent. Okay, so they are very stable, unlike the Himalayan ranges. Because of tectonic activity, we can see various earthquake occurring there. Okay, so they are earthquake prone. Okay, then we have most of the rich variety of minerals occurring in large quantity in these areas. Okay, The minerals, like we have huge deposit of iron, manganese, copper, bauxite, chromium, mica, gold, etc. Then we have 98% of Gondwana coal deposit of India that are found in this peninsular plateau. Now, beside these minerals, we have large reserve of slate, shells, sandstone, marble, etc. in this region. Okay. Now, the northwest plateau, if we look into the northwest part of the plateau, it covers a fertile black lava soil which is extremely useful for growing cotton. Okay. And we can see, we have already discussed that Maharashtra plateau has a black soil, because of which Maharashtra is leading producer of cotton and it has high ranking in the world. Okay. And if we look into other areas, we have peninsular plateau which are suitable for cultivation of tea, coffee, rubber, millet, spices, tobacco. Okay. And some of the low lying areas of plateau are suitable for growing rice. And we can also find various tropical fruits that are growing here. The highlands of the plateau are covered with different type of forests, providing us with rich and various type of forest products. Okay. Now, after that, if we look into Western Ghats, they offer a great opportunity for developing hydroelectricity and providing irrigational facility for agricultural crops. Okay. Now, the plateau, they are also known for the hill resorts, such as we have Kandla, we have Mount Abu, we have Mahabaleshwar. So they are also a tourist spot. So this was about Peninsular Plateau. Now we will look into the coastal plains. Okay. So these were the significance of Peninsular Plateau. Now we will look into coastal plains. So the coastal plains, they are narrow coastal strip between the edge of Peninsular Plateau and the coastline of India. Okay, so this is Peninsular Plateau and this is the coastline of India. So this narrow strip is what is known as coastal plains. Okay. Now this narrow strip, it covers a area, sorry, it runs up for about a distance of 6,000 kilometers. Okay. And it runs from Run of Kutch in the west to Ganga Brahmaputra Delta in the east. So this is west, this is east. So here we have Run of Kutch and here we have Ganga Brahmaputra Delta. Okay. Now because we have eastern and western part, so this coastal plain is divided into two, that is western coastal plain and eastern coastal plain. Okay. So the western coastal plain, it lies between Eastern Ghat and coast of Bay of Bengal, while sorry, the western coastal plain, it lies in the area between Western Ghats and the coast of Arabian Sea. Okay, so here we have Western Ghats and here we have Arabian Sea, while in the eastern coast we have, this is eastern coastal plain, here we have Eastern Ghats and the coast of Bay of Bengal. Okay. And these two, Western Ghats and Eastern Ghats, they meet at the point that is southernmost tip, and this is Kanyakumari. Okay. Now the western coastal plain, it stretches from Run of Kutch in the north to Kanyakumari in the south. There is a narrow west coastal plain with the average width of about 65 kilometer. Okay. So it is a narrow belt of average width of about 65 kilometers. Okay. And depending upon its relief features, we have divided it into various subparts, that is the Kutch Peninsula, the Kathiawar Peninsula, then we have the Gujarat Plain, then Konkan Plain, then Karnataka Coastal Plain, and lastly we have Malabar Plain or Kerala Plain. Okay, so the Kutch Peninsula, it is an island. It was an island surrounded by sea and lagoon. Okay, these sea and lagoon were later filled by sediment and brought by Indus River. Okay, now because they were filled, this island became a part of mainland. Okay, so it was initially an island. Now the run of Kutch, if you look, some scholar some scholar they consider it as a part of mainland, while the other treat as treat it as a separate entity identity. Okay, so the Kutch Peninsula and Kathiawar Peninsula, some of them consider it as a part because the Kutch, it first Kathiawar, it is made up of Deccan lava, and there is tertiary rock in the Kutch area. Okay, so they consider it as a part of peninsula plateau. Okay, while other they consider it as a different entity. Okay, now here in the Kutch Peninsula we have scarcity of rainfall, and there is flowing surface water that work whose work is absent. So we have scarcity of rainfall as well as the flowing surface water is also absent. Now because of it, we have mainly arid and semi-arid landscape in this region. Okay, and we can see aeolian landforms. Now the coastal sand dunes, sandy plains are interrupted by bare rocky hills, which is chief physiographic characteristic of this area. Okay, now this Kutch is divided into two. First, we have a broad, level, soaked plain, which is known as Great Run, and its southern continuation is known as Little Run, which lies on the coast, okay, and southeast of Kutch. Okay, now if we look into the whole Great Run, it is about 320 kilometers long and its maximum width is 160 kilometers, and it covers the area of about 21,500 square kilometers. Okay, here we have some areas which are actually below the sea level and they are inundated during high tides. Most of the area are formed of sun-baked dark silt, okay, which is encrusted with salt. Then we have Kathiawar Peninsula. Kathiawar Peninsula, it lies in the south of Kutch and it is encircled on the east and northeast by Little Run and Null Basin. Okay. So in the east and northeast we have Little Run and Null Basin, and the average elevation is less than 200 meter. The central part is a highland of Mahadev Hills, from which a small stream radiate in all direction. Okay, so we have radial flow. We have Mount Girnar, that is the highest point, and it is supposed to be volcanic in origin. Okay, the Gir range are located in the southern part of the Kathiawar Peninsula, and it is covered with dense forest. And this area, as we all know, Gir area is famous for Gir lions. Okay, we have Gir National Park here. Then we have Gujarat Plain. Gujarat Plain, it lies in the east of Kutch and Kathiawar, and the slope is towards the west and southwest. Okay, Now it is almost described as an intrusion of Indo-Gangetic condition in peninsular region. Okay, so here we have same condition like Indo-Gangetic region. Okay, it is formed by Narmada, Tapi, and Mahi, Sabarmati. Okay, so the sediments of these rivers, they have filled this into a plain, and this plain is formed. Now, the southern part of Gujarat, it includes southern part of Gujarat and the area, coastal area of Gulf of Khambhat. It is a low plain and the elevation of this part, there is no exceeding from 150 meters. Okay, the maximum height is 150 meters. The eastern part of this plain is made up of sediments and they are fertile enough to support agriculture. But the great part of the coast is covered with wind-blown looses. Okay, and here we have semi-arid landscape in the major area. Now we have saline marshes near the coast and they are prone to flood during high tides. So this was about Gujarat plain. Now we will look into Konkan plain. Konkan plain, it lies in the south of Gujarat plain and it extends from Daman to Goa for a distance of about 500 kilometers, and its width, it varies from 50 to 80 kilometers, and it has some features of marine erosion which includes cliff, shoals, reef, islands of Arabian Sea. Okay. Now, if we look into Mumbai, Mumbai was also an island, but it became a part of this mainland as the area has been connected. Now, if we look into south of Mumbai, the Konkan coast has series of small bays. Okay, and we have series of small bays and coves that lays between jutting headland containing beaches of sands. Okay, so we have beaches of sand in the Konkan plain. Now beside the alluvial coastal belt, there are series of parallel ridges reach which have height of about 450 to 600 meters. Okay, now here we have rivers like Vetrani, then we have Ula, then we have Ambala, which run almost parallel to the coast. Now, this area, this lateritic hillock, it rises to the height of about 100 meters above the mean sea level. After Konkan plain, we have Karnataka coastal plain. Karnataka coastal plain, it covers a distance of 225 kilometers, and its north part is in Goa, and here it is Mangalore. Okay, so Goa to Mangalore, and this narrow plain has an average width of about 30 kilometers and maximum width is being 70 kilometers near Mangalore. The central part of plain is crossed by numerous spurs projecting from the ghats. Okay, now at some places we have ghats that descends along the steep slope and make waterfall. Okay, the Sravasti, while descending over such a steep slope, it makes an impressive waterfall which is known as Gersopa or Jog waterfall. Okay, so we have Jog waterfall. We have marine topography which is quite marked on this plain, on this coast. Okay, now lastly in the western ghats we have Kerala plain, which are also known as Malabar plain. They lie between Mangalore and Kanyakumari, and this length is about 500 kilometers long, and they are much wider than the Karnataka plain, and at places they are wide up to 96 kilometers. Okay, now The height of these low-lying plains do not exceed 30 meters. Okay, there is existence of lakes, lagoons, backwater, spits. Okay, that is the significant characteristics of this Kerala coast. Okay, so we have various various coastal topographical features. Okay, so after this Kerala plain, we have completed eastern coastal plain. Now we will look into, sorry, we have completed western coastal plain. Now we will look into eastern coastal plain. Now between eastern coastal plain and the east coast of India, sorry, eastern ghats and east coast of India, we have eastern coastal plain. Okay, so these are the eastern ghats, and this is our eastern coastal plain, eastern coast. Between them, we have eastern coastal plain. Okay, and these eastern coastal plain, they extend from Swarnarekha River along West Bengal and Odisha border to Kanyakumari. Okay, and this entire region is divided into three parts. First is Utkal plain, then we have Andhra plain, and lastly we have Tamil Nadu plain. But before that, the major part of the plain is formed as a result of alluvial filling of littoral zones of the rivers, like we have Mahanadi river, we have Godavari river, we have other rivers like Krishna and Kaveri, which comprises of some of the largest deltas, and they form this eastern coastal plain is formed of them. Okay, now we will look into Utkal plain. Utkal plain, it comprises of coastal area of Odisha, and it is about 400 kilometers long. It includes Mahanadi Delta with Cuttack at its head. Okay, and there is thick layer of alluvial covering in this delta. The most prominent physiographic feature of this plain is Chilka Lake in the south of the Mahanadi Delta. Okay, now this Chilka Lake, why it is famous? It is famous because it is the lagoon on the Odisha coast, and it is about 70 kilometers long, and its maximum width on the northeast is nearly 22 kilometers, narrowing about 700 kilometers on its southwest end. Okay, it is the biggest lake in the country, and its area varies between 780 kilometers square kilometers in winter to 1144 square kilometer in the monsoon months. Okay, now south of Chilka Lake we have low hills dot plain. Okay, so this was about Utkal plain. It has Chilka Lake. Now after Utkal plain we have Andhra plain. Andhra plain, it lies towards the south of Utkal plain, and it extends up to Pulikat Lake. Okay, now it is about 40 kilometers from north of Chennai. Okay, this Pulikat Lake has barely opened as it is barred by a long sand spit which is known as Sriharikota Island. Now the Sriharikota Island is a very important island as it is a launching station of ISRO. Okay, so major satellites, most of the satellites are launched from most of the satellites of ISRO are launched from here. Okay, now the lagoon is about 60 kilometers long and about 16 kilometers wide in its widest part. And the most significant feature of this plain is the delta formation by the river Godavari and Krishna. Okay, the fact is that these two rivers, they the delta merges with each other, and it forms a single physiographic unit. Okay, so at the end, when these two rivers, they deposit their delta, their deposits, okay, their sediments, their delta, it merges, and because it merges, it forms a single geographical unit. Okay, and the combined delta has advanced, and it is about 35 kilometers towards the sea, and it is during the recent year. Now this Andhra coast is quite wide, but if we look into its coastal line, Andhra plain, it is straight. It is not indented. If it have been indented, then it would have been a natural harbor. Okay, but it is straight, and that's why a harbor can't be built here. Okay, so it is not a good harbor. With the exception, we have two harbors here, that is Vishakhapatnam and Machilipatnam. Okay. Lastly, we have Tamil Nadu plain, which stretches for 675 kilometers from Pulikat Lake to Kanyakumari along the coast of Tamil Nadu, and the average width is about 100 kilometers. The most important feature of this plain is Kaveri Delta. Okay, and this Kaveri Delta is a plain which is 130 kilometers wide, and the fertile soil and large-scale irrigation facility have made this Kaveri Delta a granary of South India. Mark it, it is not a granary of whole India. We have granary of South India. What was the granary of whole India? Punjab and Haryana. Okay. Now that we have done the coastal plain, now we will look into significance of coastal plains. Okay, so the coastal plain, they have great significance. The large part of the coastal plain are covered by fertile soil on which different crops are grown. Okay, rice is the main crop of this area. Coconut tree are grown all along the coast. The entire length of the coast is dotted with big and small ports. Okay, now with the help of these ports, we can carry our trade, export and import. Okay, now the major part of international trade, that is about 98% of our trade, is carried through these ports. Now, because this area have sedimentary rock in these plains, it is said to contain deposits of mineral oil. Okay, because oil and natural gas, they are found in gaps between sedimentary rocks. Okay, then we have nuclear power here. The sand of Kerala coast has large quantity of monazite, which is used for nuclear power generation. Then because we have coastline, the coast are very important for fishing, and fishing is important occupation for the people living in the coastal areas. So fishing area is also present because of these coast. Lastly, we have low laying areas of Gujarat. Okay, and here we produce salt. So this area is also famous for salt production. So this is the significance of coastal plain. Now we will look into the last physiographic region, that is Indian islands. Now the Indian islands, in total we have large number of islands, and in total we have 615 islands, out of which 572 islands they lie in West Bengal, and remaining 43 lies in Arabian Sea. Okay, so why we have more islands in Bay of Bengal? Bay of Bengal is actually, we have delta formation there. Okay, so most of the islands, they are formed due to collection of sediments. Okay, so we have 572 islands. Out of these, only 36 islands are inhabited. Okay, now Bay of Bengal islands, they include Andaman Nicobar, because they are important islands in Bay of Bengal. Okay, they are largely of tectonic and volcanic origin. Okay, while the Arabian island, they are of coral formation. There are a number of offshore islands along the mouth of Ganga, eastern and western coast of the Gulf of Khambat and Mannar. Okay, so first we will look into islands of Bay of Bengal. The main island of Bay of Bengal are Andaman and Nicobar Island. Andaman and Nicobar Island, they both are separated by each other by 10-degree channel. Okay. And if we look into the distance between the island and the mainland, the shortest distance is about 2000 kilometers. Okay. The extreme south point, which is in Great Nicobar Island, it is Indra Point. Okay. But this Indra Point during tsunami, it was submerged inside the water. Now the Andaman and Nicobar Island, they have warm tropical climate all around all the year. Okay. And they have two monsoon seasons. Okay. And temperature here is around 35 degrees Celsius, but the sea breeze have a cooling effect. Okay. We all know sea breeze and land breeze, because of which the temperature of this area is moderated. Now, Andaman Island are thickly forested and they have rich marine life along the reefs. Okay, so we have reefs here, and the island has bird watcher paradise because we have about 242 species of birds in this island. Okay, so it is bird watchers paradise. The entire region falls in a major earthquake zone. The barren island in the Andaman has an active volcano. Okay. Now in Bay of Bengal, we have two major volcanic islands. First is Barren Island, then second is Narcondam Island. Okay, which is situated 80 kilometers of east of Andaman Islands. Okay, the Andaman Islands, they have been formed by the extension of tertiary mountain chains of Aracanium. Okay, so Aracanium mountains, they have stretched in the sea. These are Aracanium mountain in the mainland, and their remains are elevated in the sea. Okay, so the top parts of this Aracanium extension are these islands. Okay, then we have Nicobar Island. Nicobar Islands, they are main crop of these islands is rice, coconut. Then we have major cash crop as coconut and arecanut. Okay. Now the tropical fruits that are found here are like bananas. We have various variety of bananas here. We have pineapples. We have sweet papaya, mangoes that grow in small scale in Andaman group of island. Now we have tribal population in the Andaman Islands, and most of these tribals have inhabited and they have migrated from Bangladesh, Myanmar, and India, and Tamils of Sri Lanka. So, along with the tribal group, we have all these four countries immigrants, and they reside here, because of which the tribal population of Andaman Island is fastly dwindling. Now we have the most important world famous rarest found crab in this world, which is largest crab of the world. Okay, and this crab is called as giant robber crab. It can be found in the Vendor Marine Biosphere Reserve of South Andaman and Great Nicobar Island. Its powerful claws, it helps them to climb on the coconut tree and break the hard shell of the fruit. Okay, so they have such a strong claws that they can easily break the hard shell of the coconut. Now we have islands of Arabian Sea. Islands of Arabian Sea, we have 43 islands, out of which only 11 islands are inhabited. Okay. Now the shortest distance from the mainland is about 109 kilometers, that is from Calicut. Kavirati is located on the island, and this name is of capital of Lakshadweep Island. Okay, so Lakshadweep Islands are separated by Maldives Island by 8-degree channel. Okay, so Andaman and Nicobar, they were separated by 10-degree channel, while Maldives and Lakshadweep, they are separated by 8-degree channel. Okay, the hills and streams are absent in these islands. Mincoy is the largest among these islands, and it has a lighthouse and weather observatory. Okay, fishing is the main occupation of the people living in Lakshadweep Island. In Lakshadweep Island, we have coconut as the major crop, and along with it, pulses and vegetables are also grown. And this area is surrounded by rich marine life. Okay, so this Lakshadweep Islands, they are surrounded by rich marine life. So fishing is the main occupation of the people here. Lastly, we have offshore island. So we have various islands in the deltic region of Ganga and in the Gulf of Mannar. Among the western coast island, in we have Diu, Veda, Nora, then we have Elibet, then we have Elephanta, we have Karanj, we have Cross, we have Saint Mary's. Okay, so these are the islands. Then we have Sri Harikota at the mouth of Pulicat Lake. Then we have Crocodile Island. Then we have New Moor Island. We have Short Wheeler Island. Okay, so like this, we have many islands, but most of the islands are inhabited and they are administered by adjacent states. Okay, sorry, they are not inhabited, they are uninhabited. Okay, so most of the islands, they do not have any population residing there. Okay, so this was about Indian islands. If we look into significance of Indian island group, see, the Indian island group, they are major tourist spots. Okay, so for Indian tourism, they are very helpful. So tourism, first of all, tourism, because we have many species of birds here. Okay, then uh, we have recently studied that we have giant robber crab. Okay, so we have distinctive species of various animals residing here. Okay, then we have various forests in these areas. Okay, and we can see various scenic beauties. So this is the cause of tourism. Next, they are helpful because various fruits like tropical fruits are grown here. Okay, and we have many species of bananas, mangoes. Okay, so they are also grown here. And the most important fruit here is coconut. Okay, so coconut is used as an edible, but also its left out or its unused part, which we call it as coir, it is used as biofuel nowadays. Okay, so coconut, it provides us with coir, and which is used as biofuel. Okay, so it is eco-friendly. So these were the significance of Indian islands. Along with it, we have many species of marine animals. So we have fishing ground, fertile fishing ground here in the Indian islands. Okay, so these were the significance of Indian island. Now we will locate this peninsular plateau, the coastal plains, and Indian islands on map. So starting with Peninsular Plateau, we have hills like Aravali Ranges, Vindhyan Ranges, then we have Satpura Ranges, Ajanta Ranges, Mahadev Ranges. Okay, so this is Aravali Range, this is Vindhya, this is Satpura, this here is Ajanta, then here we have Mahadev, range. Okay, so here we have Marwar upland, then we have Malwa plateau, then we have Central Highland, then going down we have Deccan plateau here. Okay, and here if we go we have Chota Nagpur plateau. Okay, so this is our plateau region. Okay, now after the plateau region we have Western Ghats. Western Ghats are quite continuous. Western Ghats are continuous with little discontinuity, while if we look into Eastern Ghats, they are quite discontinuous. Okay, so these are Eastern Ghats and these are Western Ghats. Here we have Nilgiri Hills, then we have Andaman Hills, then we have Cardamom Hills. Okay, this here we have Narmada River, this is Tapi River, and Satpura ranges are running parallel to these rivers in between them. Okay, here we have Godavari, Krishna, Kaveri. Okay, so these are Western Ghats and Eastern Ghats. After that, this is our coastal plain. Okay, as if we can see that this coastal plain is narrower, but this is quite wide. Okay, so this coastal plain, here we can see, here we have Kathiawar coast, then we have Konkan coast, and then we have Malabar coast. Okay, then here if we see, we have Coromandel coast. Okay, so this was about coastal plain. In eastern coastal plain we have Utkal coast. Okay, then we have Andhra coastal plain, and lastly we have Tamil Nadu coastal plain, Tamil Nadu plain. Okay, so this was about western and eastern coast. Now lastly we have Lakshadweep islands here. So these are Lakshadweep islands, while these are here Andaman and Nicobar islands. So these are Andaman island and these are Nicobar islands. They are separated by 10-degree channel. Okay, and these are Lakshadweep island, which are separated by Maldives by 8-degree channel. Okay, now after that, so these Lakshadweep islands, their capital is Kavirati. Okay, and these are Andaman islands. Andaman islands are divided into three, that is North Andaman, Middle Andaman, and South Andaman. Okay, then we have Little Andaman here. Okay, so here we have the capital Port Blair. Okay, but these Nicobar Islands, they have another capital, that is Car Nicobar. Okay, so Car Nicobar, these are Andaman and Nicobar, these are Lakshadweep Islands. Now the most southmost point of the whole India, not mainland is Kanyakumari, but the southmost point of the island group is Indira Point. Okay, so Indira Point is submerged now, but the southernmost point is Indira Point. So this was about the physiographic features, that is plateau region of India, then we have coastal plains, and we have island groups. Okay, so that was all for today, guys. I hope you enjoyed today's lecture, though it was too long, but the topic was too interesting. So let's meet in our next class. Till then, take care and have a nice day. Thank you.